like you just said, OSP still has some sustainability in the late game. They still have options for the late game. They have the Melissa, so it's not going to be an easy game for BloodHounds. Let's see what they can do as we jump into game 2. This is BloodHounds going up against the Simpsons. Simpsons are up 1 right now. Now, the lanes have been laid down. That Camilla is going to be the roam. And I got a feeling that the Simpsons are going to have a little bit of an advantage in these rotations and the early on mid lane clearing.
Yeah, it's about mid control nowadays, right? When we're talking about how to control that early game, how to control neutral objectives, mid control has just become so important in this game. And right now, looking at it, the composition for the Simpsons definitely is drafted more towards that mid control, as they are already going to go for the first Lethal Wanderer. Fallen there, not able to get the Retribution. Tempest already rotating very early on. Damien not going to use the Flicker just yet there. Fallen stunned up, very low, but he's still going to be able to actually get out of that sticky situation. And just like that, man, the mid control doesn't really matter if you have that XP lane that can just sacrifice his own lane to rotate quicker with the kill pressure that he has.
Most definitely. Now, talking about EXP lanes, we haven't really, Masha just kind of, like she was so popular, and then recently she's kind of just, well, I wouldn't say fallen off, but she hasn't been as much of a pick. But I will say that when we do see her brought in, like you said, she can be very important to a team and normally make those plays. My question is what was the thing that kind of, took her out recently?
Yeah, for the Masha, I think the damage of just her damage in general was kind of nerfed from the Thunderclap and how she scales with HP. But I do agree, right now he's kind of a shadow OP hero, right? You don't really see a lot. You don't see the prioritization for this hero that much right now, but again, in this mid lane, it's going to be that control that they're fighting over, as Tempest has already rotated a bit faster. Damien going to be caught, has the Flicker to get out of the Abyssum Strike. Good baits right now for the Simpsons. They're able to take away a few resources as they go back into the turtle side to control. Promise has a better setup. He cleared out the waves. Tempest is going to lose a whole lot of XP and gold. This Promise just jumps in onto Easy Peasy, trying to zone him away, but there you go. The lethal counter Retribution comes in. Fallen goes over to Death is Welcome, able to lock Easy Peasy down for the first blood to come through. Turtle secured, traded in for a kill.
I mean, I think it's a good trade for the Simpsons there. You take down Easy Peasy there. Yes, you give up the turtle, but Cold World in a bit of trouble there, but he will be able to get away. But as I was saying, you get a nice, especially with the Ballman, you want to try to scale up early on. You want to be able to get those objectives, which you did do. But this is where this Barats has just kind of come in clutch recently for so many teams. Because I think a lot of people had trouble against the Ballman and that lethal counter, or had trouble against the Akai and the heavy spin. And Barats has kind of been the answer to that. The Daytona's welcome. You want to come in here? I got you. I'm going to let you in, and I'm going to try to get you off the map in time so that I can get the Retribution down. Not only that, but you're nullified to CC when you're in that state of trying to do the ultimate, so the heavy spin can't push you away and things just kind of work out. Nate does use these black shoes, but I like the way that OSP is utilizing this hero right now.
Ooh, clutch escape there from the Carmilla, very low. We can see already just a little bit of a skirmish there in the bottom side. But yeah, I do agree, especially in the Barats point, right? The Barats just adds a little bit more of that multi-dimensional level when it comes down to neutral objective takes, right? You can just zone them away or just start a team fight with Death is Welcome, or you can just choose to trade like what they did just now. They go for the turtle. If it doesn't work out, Death is Welcome. Easy Peasy has to use his dash over to actually secure the objective, but now greed from Cold World.
And now taking a look at the items. Speaking of gold lanes, Dimsun actually holding its own. We were worried about the Beatrix, but has just done a great job. And Damien struck him down. Now they may move on to Fallen here, but Easy Peasy just on a roll right now.
Oh man, Nate as well, a little bit overextended there in the mid lane. Even though they did get that tier 1 turret early on, they're not going to be able to actually play that far off with a member that just got picked off. A roamer, and Easy Peasy just uses that again, the pressure that they have in the mid lane, to go and invade into the enemy jungle. Cold World, good trade, but there's going to lose his life for this one. It's going to be just a massive pickup, but no, Cold World is actually able to get out. No defensive battle spell. He actually went for the Inspire, but BloodHounds weren't really able to punish him completely here, as the Simpsons will still be able to survive. BloodHounds have the maneuvers better set up here on to the turtle. Lethal counter and the retribution. It's going to be Nate. Just melted down completely. Abyssum Strike comes in as well. Stunned up and chain CC'd. Nate taken down. Easy peasy. Secures a mega kill. And the Simpsons, they're going to have to weather the storm.
And just to let you guys know, after that mega kill, we're going to have a very mega giveaway coming up. You're going to see a code popping up on screen in just a minute. What you're going to do is you're going to type in the code in the description below. Now, on to this game, right? I'm wondering, is there an answer for the Simpsons? What I can say is Cold World has been very slippery, right? Cold World has been able to, even when we thought, I mean, you were calling it like, oh, he's done for, but we saw him on the Wan, able to maneuver around, and now even on this Melissa, he could end up being the saving grace if Simpsons can buy enough time to get him online here. But Dimson has been answering back to Cold World, using that sniper, keeping up with the range, and that with easy peasy, as you said, just melting them down enough for the rest of the team to burst through. It definitely is a huge problem for the Simpsons right now. I think the BloodHounds just need to keep up this pressure, keep on hammering in, and not give the Simpsons any space to breathe.
That's exactly what they're doing right now in the mid lane. They're utilizing just that poke from Dim Sum, from the wait, this name, Bakurasko. All right, there you go. Nate, though, he's looking for a play. But again, yeah, it's just kind of a tongue twister, Bakurasko. Sometimes I read it right. Sometimes I fondle.
Now, we know there was a slight issue. We went off air for a second. We're going to see a replay here in just a minute to kind of give you guys an idea of what happened, what's been happening with the last turtle, etc., etc. But what I can say right now is BloodHounds, after what we saw in game one, it was not, you know, they've just come back and are really dominating in this game. And now with this Lord, I'm wondering if Simpsons can even try to contest this.
Let's see right here. The Simpsons, they have the better setup actually right now with more members on the board. Beatrix is all the way down below, and Fallen has taken control of the Lord. 14,000 HP. Sanguine Claw is going to be popped up there. A lot of damage placed onto the Roamer. Fallen going to go for that Retribution battle, but up against a Bauman is not really going to be good there. Lethal counter with the Retribution secures it. Fallen gets the death to his welcome, but there's no follow-up on that stun. Fallen going to be taken down. The Simpsons, once again, they go for a 50-50 up against the Bauman. It's never a 50-50 against a Bauman.
Definitely not. He definitely has a huge advantage there. And Fallen uses that to Tona's welcome, but he gets it onto Sushi, not onto Easy Peasy, right? So a little bit of an issue there. And I'm starting to see right now with the kind of dive composition that the Simpsons had with Nate on this Lilia and Fallen, Promise, Damien, they can't, they're walking right into Easy Peasy, and it just continues to be a problem, even with that first death he took early on. But now we do have the redeem code up on screen, so if you want some free magic dust and some tickets, the first 50 users who use this are able to get it. The redeem link is in the description, but please do not leave too long, because these teams are bringing action to the land of Don Mirko.
Yeah, and they're going instantly. Speaking of action up top, right? There's not much the Simpsons can do right now to defend. They're just going to have to poke and wait maybe for a mistake to happen from the BloodHounds, but they're staying disciplined here. They do not want to overcommit with the Lord. That's pushing in. They're able to get the tier 2 up top, and that's about it. Good wave manipulation, honestly, from the Simpsons to deny any further commitments and siege potential from BloodHounds to happen.
Yeah, I would say the Simpsons are doing, I mean, for being to 7-1 and being this pushed in, a lot of times you'll see the gold lead just be like getting close to the 10K mark. Yes, it is at 5K right now, but I've seen it much worse at this stage of the game when games start going like this. So the Simpsons are staunching the bleeding, right? They've got some band-aids on, they've cleaned themselves up a little bit, and they're just trying to hang in there. Once again, the thing we have to point out is Cold World 0-0 and 0. Yes, no deaths, yes, no kills, but also no deaths. The problem is what they're facing against is BloodHounds right now. Everyone has zeros on their death counter, right? Everyone is fed. They're eating good right now. Carmilla tanky enough to be able to sit up front, and Boca Roscoe has just been racking up these stacks. So the problem is if the Simpsons are biding time, what's going to be their answer to Boca as we creep into the late game?
That's a big question right now, as the Simpsons are looking for a play down below. Tempest caught all alone. Flickers backwards, actually. Going to try to buy some time for the other members to perhaps look for something else on the map. But unfortunately, I don't think he bought enough time for anything to be converted on. The Simpsons able to find a very good pick here in the 12th minute of the game. And honestly, at this point, that's what they need to play with, right? Work with. As if they are going for these 5v5s, 4v4s equal, it's not going to work out well for them.
Yeah, just keep on finding picks, and once you get them, try to get something. We are seeing Promise in that bot lane, kind of macroing up down there, and I got a feeling we may see him try to sneak in through the back, and if he can get onto Dimsun or Boca during this big fight, it could be huge.
Good position from Promise right now. He might actually pull the trigger right now. Dimsum dealing a whole lot of damage onto Damien. He jumps in with a Thunderclap. Dimsum zone away. The damage comes in from Cold World, but a massive Sanguine Claws stops their momentum. The Simpsons, though, they're buying enough time. They're zoning very well to actually go for the secure onto Lord. Very good right there. Secure from the Simpsons, even though it was actually the Melissa who takes it. It doesn't matter. As long as you secure it for your team, it really doesn't matter, right? Retribution from the jungler or the Melissa, it works anyway.
Very, very true. I think the real star in that spot, though, was Promise getting that angle out, zoning in onto Dimsun there, and just kind of pushed BloodHounds back. They had to react quickly, and instead of, leaving Dimsun behind and going for the Lord, they did save Dimsun, but they lost that objective there. And this is, I don't think it's going to be the win for the Simpsons, but it does alleviate this pressure that the BloodHounds have been giving, and we're starting to see the Simpsons regain some map control, regain their presence here in Game 2.
And you can see the clash of game plan, right? The clash of the two compositions that are built up here. The damage, though, comes in out of nowhere. Cold World does so much damage. And with the Death as Welcome, they're actually able to find easy peasy. Immortality popped out, and his life as well taken by the Simpsons. That's a massive resource on one of your frontliners. And again, it comes down to that game plan, Trex. The Simpsons, if they go for a messy team fight, if they are able to disrupt that clean front to back from BloodHounds, they have a massive advantage in the team fights.
This is true. One thing that's been really interesting to watch, though, has been the way that Carmilla, every time she's about to die, Boca Ross was quick to scoop her up, spit her out behind the team. Now, I got a feeling that could work against them, though, because they're constantly doing that, and you immediately lose that front line. And sometimes it's okay for your tank to die. Sometimes you need them to die so that you can enclose in onto the enemy team. So it has been something that's worked as we've been through the early stages, but I'm wondering if it's going to keep on favoring, because once she gets melted down and is pushed back, the Simpsons are capitalized, and we just saw it. Easy peasy goes down. The rest of the front line is instantly, brought to its knees for a second there because you lose one of your members. So an interesting mechanic, but we're starting to see some of its failities here.
Yeah, you're starting to see as well from BloodHounds, right? As we enter the later stage of the game, right now, they are going to have to rely more and more towards Boca Roscoe on the Sicilian with the snacks. He does so much damage, but in the bottom side, you can see the Dyroth already just falling here in that 1v1. Promise is able to bait 4 members down, and this, again, just creates so much space for the Simpsons to take. The control that they have in the lanes will be very good setup, actually, for the Lord that's going to be coming up in 20 seconds, forcing the Bat Feast as well. These resources are going to start to add up. It's going to be the Simpsons who can look for a collapse very, very soon.
Yeah, and you can feel it, the tension building up. Promise has finally kind of come online, had a rough start against Tempest in the early stages. There's a lot of people do against Dyroth, but wait, Damien, going to be able to flicker away from that one. Lord up, but Promise has, now that he's got some items in, he's got the Guardian's helmet in, he's bulky enough to really just be able to go toe-to-toe and actually come out on top against Tempest, which is having him just dominate this bottom lane. They're actually sending Boca down now to deal with it.
Very good by Promise here. Again, this is just very good management from the Simpsons, right? The fact that BloodHounds need to send their ultimate poke damage, their poke potential down below, just alleviates so much pressure, gives the Simpsons so much room to play, and it's just a macro decision that worked out for the Simpsons right now. They utilize that Masha really well with the side lane presence. No one can really 1v1 Masha, maybe the Beatrix, but that's it, right? If you send the Beatrix, you lose your team fight potential 100%. You're not going to be able to deal that much damage onto the Barats without that Beatrix.
Well, they're going to need to come up with an answer to Promise soon, because that right now is being the deciding factor in not just the last Lord, but now this Lord, right? And the macro from the Simpsons right now is what's kind of keeping them ahead of all of these neutral objectives right now. And BloodHounds just really having trouble finding an answer to it. They send Boca down, but like you said, you lose all your damage. You try to send your other damage dealer, the Beatrix, down, you lose everything. There's no way you can even compete for the Lord. At this point, the only way I see them getting objectives is with easy peasy. Oh, Damien deleted though.
Man, Baka Roscoe does so much damage, and exactly this is what they need to play with. Baka and Dim Sum. They're able to get 2 pickoffs just with the Beatrix and with Baka. Coldworld, though, looking for a play, jumps in. He needs to be careful. Dim Sum has the Wind of Nature. Coldworld gonna be popping off that go away, able to disengage for now. Lord cleared out. BloodHounds, they can play the long game. If you want to go for a siege, it's not really gonna work out. The Simpsons need to somehow force BloodHounds out of their base, because with the Sicilian and the Beatrix and with the frontliners that they have, it's so hard to actually dive towards that backline inside of the base. And they're looking for more here actually for the BloodHounds. Promise though has just a whole lot of HP, has a sprint as well. I don't think he's going to be at risk at this point. No threat.
Yeah, he's as G likes to say, that Masha's thick right now. Not something easy to take down. But you mentioned a really good point. Like, the goal for Simpsons right now is take out Boca Roscoe or take out Dim Sum. At this point, it's kind of a toss-up. I'm almost feeling more threatened from Boca right now, right? But Masha is kind of your person who needs to do that in a sense, or get to that backside. But once that Bat's Feast come out, it's going to be hard to catch up. The escapability is there for him, especially with just one person going after you. Fallen not really going to be able to get into the backline. So an answer for Simpsons, yeah, pull them out of the base. Try to maybe set up an ambush, and then once you can get out one of those people in the back line, you have the answer. BloodHounds, though, they just need to keep on waiting. They just need to keep on sieging up, getting Boca Roscoe more and more fed, and as long as they pocket around him and keep him in a safe position, him and Dim Sum, they should be able to come out on top in some of these team fights.
Yeah, and speaking of that pressure, speaking of that poke damage coming in from Baka, that's going to keep on stacking up. The damage is just going to increase over time. This is where those questions start to be, you can start to ask those questions for Coldworld. Do you want to go for the defensive item? Because now even the Beatrix with that Renner shot, remember the Renner shot was nerfed, right? And in the top side, wait a minute, Promise going for that 1v1. Templess doesn't have the flicker, already burnt out. A solo kill from Promise, and again, this is a disaster for the BloodHounds, as now Baka is going to be the one who has to maneuver over to the mid lane, trying to stop Promise from dealing too much damage onto the base. And again, this just creates so much space for the Simpsons. Another beautiful macro play, and it just shows that side lane pressure from the Masha. That's what they were going for in the draft, and that's what's being displayed here in the 20th minute of the game.
How do you even answer that? Do you just let him take the tower? Do you maybe try to ambush him knowing that he's coming, maybe send Easy Peasy down there, send someone down there with Templess and wait for the bait? But then once again, you're giving up your position on the Lord. And this is just a riddle right now that BloodHounds don't seem to have an answer to. But still, Simpsons, eventually, will they be able to crack these inhibitors? It's taking them some time, but the inhibitors are getting a bit lower every time. They're getting a little bit more. So I think if the Simpsons can keep using this, they could still come out on top in this game.
Remember though, that high ground going to play a huge role in this game right now, as that's going to be the top side pressured in with the Evolved Lord crashing in, picking up the second base turret of the game. Just in the bottom side, you saw Promise and Fallen picking up another. Mid lane going to be the focus now, as the Bloodhound members are going to go on to that Evolved Lord, taking it down with the help of the Bennett and Baka, obviously on that bad impact, but the Thunderclap takes away a whole lot of HP, forcing a bad feast, forcing a sprint, and the damage here won't be free. Look at the free hitting coming in from Coldworld, but one bad impact is enough to take him down. My goodness, 2 members fall just like that, but honestly, it should be worth it for the Simpsons right now. But Promise comes in out of nowhere in the push. He finds a pick that literally kind of saves them from this position. BloodHounds can't look for a crazy push here. They can't look for that one straight push N anymore.
That is insane, Promise. The perseverance there to wait, but wait a second, Promise.
Yeah, he's taken very, very low. DimSum needs to be careful, though. Force that flicker out. Circling Eagle gonna be coming in with the help of Promise. Again with the Thunderclap. Getting a double kill for himself, but I think this is gonna be a kill picked up. Nope, not by Nate. It is a double kill from Promise. This man is just the MVP so far in this game. Clutch flanks, clutch moments, and again, the targeting that's so precise.
Man, I wish I could be in the comms right now. I wish I could be hearing the call out for the response when the two Fallen and Cold World goes down. And it's like, Promise, wait in this bush right here. And he comes in, risky play, but knows he's tanky enough to do it and is able to escape. And then BloodHounds continue to push forward and fall right into it. Damien with that Soaring Eagle, the Circling Eagle, is able to bring Promise right back into it and just shred through DimSum there. So a beautiful answer to what BloodHounds thought was a clear possible victory.
And again, right, it's another example that the BloodHounds, once they set their sights onto something, sometimes they do actually tunnel vision. They forget about maybe perhaps just the kill pressure that the Simpsons have from Promise and Temptless. He's trying to go for that 1v1 again. They need to look for something at this point for BloodHounds, right? Either you go for the commitment onto Masha or you go for the 5-man onto the Lord. I don't think going for the 5-man Lord is going to be wise here because just the Masha can punish you instantly going for that base.
Most definitely now with Lord up, towers put in. Masha has even, I mean, Masha's not only not only pushing on the top, but the mid as well. And this time Simpsons aren't even trying to go into this. They're just dealing with waves. Literally the Mega Minions are macroing themselves right now, right? It just gives you such a huge advantage to have all of these lanes with such, you know, having those minions coming at you. So BloodHounds in a bad spot. I think at this point, what they need here is to really just let the Simpsons in for a second and hope that that bad impact and that DimSum can just take out the backline, can burst them down and try to get what you got last Lord push, but this time don't falter it, right? Don't mess it up by getting too over-ambitious.
Don't get poked down too, because remember, even though so far in the last 5 minutes of the game, it has been the Simpsons dominating, that damage coming in from Baka is still alive. Promise up top, dealing the damage onto Temptless. They're trying to deal the damage here slowly but surely, but Promise just goes into that backline, diving in with a Thunderclap, getting the immortality down. DimSum popping the Wind of Nature. That's going to be Baka actually caught in the midst of it all. Wind of Truncheon able to buy some time, but with the Evolved Lord onto the base, they can just target it down. They're going to be able to secure match point here with a 4-for-1 as well in the trade. They come back this game, not as dominant, but still a clean game for the side.
The Simpsons, most definitely. I mean, definitely.